Evening twisties, stick around and I'll teach you to paint this cup. I'm starting with an epoxied glitter base. This is a silver holographic. You can totally do it with a white opal as well. I'm using Pinata alcohol inks. Use whatever you'd like. And you can choose whatever colors you want to. I went with some basics, pink, blue, yellow. That way they mix. I got some green, purple, and orange out of it too. You do want your cup to be fully cured before you paint on it with the alcohol ink. And you're just going to start by adding a little bit in little splotches around the cup. I'm using an inexpensive makeup sponge. I cut it up into a few pieces and I just use one piece per color of ink. I would suggest adding just a bit more color maybe than you want to show through, because once you go in there with the black and start blending it out, it is going to wipe out some of the color. And you're going to see I used some extra blue because I just felt like it would go with the look of the galaxy I was hoping to achieve. I'll also add here that you want your epoxy to be fully cured before you paint on it. And that's just because the ink moves around better on cured epoxy. And if you do happen to do something that you don't like, as long as you wipe it off quickly, you have a better chance of cleaning it up to the point that it's correctable versus epoxy that's not fully cured or very, very close to. It'll stain it like right away. So now I've moved on to my yellow, and I am being a little bit careful not to cause mud here, but for the most part, I really don't have to worry about that too much with the way that I've got my colors spaced out. And now I'm going in with the black, and I'm just going to start by filling the open spaces with the heavier parts of the black. As you use what's on your sponge more, it'll start to fade out. When you get that faded look, that's what you want to use to blend your color. So you're going to start overlapping in between the color in those open spaces, just up on the edge of it. Play with it a little bit, you'll see what I mean. That way the black will overlap and blend, and it will make the color more subtle rather than just wiping it out completely. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit here, but I don't want to do it too much because I don't want you guys to lose track of what's actually happening. But to fill just a little bit of space, this started off as a very small section of a cup I did a while back. I did a few of them. There was a tree of life in the center in a circle, and then it was split up 5 ways with the nature elements. So earth, fire, wind, water, space. And this was the little section of space. And I really enjoyed it every time I did it. So I've been meaning to get around to doing it on a full cup, and I just happened to have time to do it in today's live. And unfortunately, I don't get a lot of time for tutorials. They are very time consuming. But this cup was so fun to make, and it was fast. It only took me like less than half an hour total. And I've already got it on the turner with some epoxy, which you're gonna see in just a minute here. So at this point, I'm mostly just blending it out. I did go in at one point and add a little heavier black in some of the more open spaces, and then I highlighted just a little bit more color and blended it together a little bit more where I wanted that color to pop. All right, so next I'm gonna go in with my trusty Aleene's, however you say it, foiling glue. Unfortunately, they no longer make that, so just choose whatever foiling glue you're comfortable with. If it's not thick and you wanna just use a really fine paintbrush to make your stars, and as long as you like them, it doesn't matter. You just need something that's gonna pull the foil well, and tack it doesn't do it. Personally, I chose to space the stars out a little more in the black areas and cluster them a little bit more in the colored areas so that it doesn't look like terribly consistent, but also not to overdo it. But if you want to overdo it with stars and foil, overdo it and have fun with that shit. And the foil pull. Scrub, 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 and pull. Beautiful. I'm going to show you guys the end result here in just a moment. There was this one dot while I was waiting for the glue to dry that just wouldn't dry, and I kept checking and it was making me crazy. I ended up just doing it. So coming up here in just a moment, the grand finale. Well, it still needs borders and final coats and all those things, but this is the end result. When it's finished, I will get it out into the sunshine so you guys can see that glitter sparkle a little better. I know my lighting in here isn't great, but if you do it, tag me. I would love to see, and I hope you all have fun.